Because all good things must come to an end, unfortunately, this show must as well. I am Ben Florence. Welcome to the finale for the season of SportsZone. We got ourselves a great show. Do a little farewell to the good folks. Dylan Show with us. We got Vince Landry. We're going to start by doing something we haven't really talked, I don't think, at all this semester. We're going to talk a little hockey. Stanley Cup playoff hockey, gotta love it. The first round conference quarterfinals are underway as of last week. This week, all series are heavily underway, and we're talking about a little local approach. Washington Capitals, after several disappointing seasons in a row, had a very strong season. They were taking on the resurgent New York Islanders, who had a disappointing year last year after making the playoffs. But now, the New York Islanders at home took a 2-1 series lead. Dylan, are the Caps in trouble?
I would say, yeah, they definitely are in trouble. You never want to be down this early, and if any recent playoff experience and stories from the Washington Capitals will ring true, they are one of those teams that always seems to make it there and always seems to struggle in the postseason. And this has been extremely, extremely prevalent in this one. Alexander Ovechkin has pretty much been non-existent for this one. Boykin of the Islanders has completely shut down his entire line. He's been the really motivational captain for them this entire postseason so far. And the Capitals are looking like they're in trouble. Like I said, they haven't had the greatest postseason success, and this year looks like it's going to be a repeat. They usually play really well in the postseason, or in the normal season, but when it gets to this time, whether it's fatigue, the other team's a little bit more experienced, whatever it is, I think it's time to start panicking if you are a Capitals fan.
It's interesting that, the past several years, Vince, the Capitals, really, their excellence has come in their offense. They have one of the strongest front lines and a fantastic specialty teams unit, especially on the power play. But, you saw Sunday's game in the venerable Nassau Coliseum, which is closing down, because the Islanders are moving to Brooklyn. Gotta love that. But, the offense, even though the Islanders had a lot of offensive chances, particularly early, Washington really seemed to struggle, and they didn't score that tying goal, the equalizer, in the third period until late in the period before the early loss in overtime. So what's going on, at least as of late, with this Washington offense?
Well, I think Dylan touched on it a little bit. Maybe some players just not performing well historically in the playoffs. And also, we know once you get to the playoffs in hockey, you can have all this offense, you can have all the stars, but really it's about if a goalie gets hot, then a team is going to do well. And that's what it seems like, at least for the Islanders, coupled with Washington's offensive struggles, Ovechkin not really stepping up and leading the line, and Washington themselves having a little bit of a shaky goalkeeping behind you. That really doesn't do well to supplement the poor offensive performances that they've had, at least in the first 3 games of this series. So I think it's a little bit of their offense being shaky and then just a hot goalkeeper for the Islanders at the moment.
Yeah, and you mentioned the goaltending. Really the Islanders have been tremendous because for the last several years, going back to the great days of Rick DiPietro, the Islanders really struggled in that. Yaroslav Halak, they picked up, has just been tremendous. All right, we're going to look ahead a little bit to our final episode. Yep. So we're going to do a little prognostication. I actually pronounced that well. Who are the 2 teams going to be in the Stanley Cup final, and who's going to win the Stanley Cup final? How about that? And we'll start with you, Vince.
I think you got to go a little bit of chalk in the East. The way the Rangers played yesterday against the Penguins, absolutely just suffocating them for 2.5 periods. If they play like that the rest of the series and can continue that as the Stanley Cup playoffs go a little bit deeper, I think the Rangers are definitely a team that we're going to see in the finals. And in the West, Anaheim's a team that's always kind of been built in the past to get to the finals. They built the team this year to kind of beat the LA Kings. The LA Kings aren't in the playoffs this year. I think Anaheim will get to the Stanley Cup finals, and I think the Rangers will avenge last year's loss to the Kings, and they'll take the Stanley Cup.
All right, Dylan, quickly, what do you got?
Hey, I got a very similar looking on the west side. I got Anaheim. I got the Ducks going there. And then a little bit different, I'm going to go Montreal Canadiens. Both of those teams 3-0 right now, going very, very strong. And we're going to say the Ducks are going to be the ones that are going to end up winning it.
Well, an NBC would love a Ducks-Canadiens matchup. We got more Sports Zone on the way, our season finale. We got more good stuff coming to you next. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome back to SportsZone. This is, of course, the season finale, so it'll be our final edition of Going for Two. We'll be kicking extra points the rest of the way through the summer. As usual, I'm Dan. I've got Vince and Matt, as always. And we're talking the one big story in the NFL this week. He's a walking headline. You know him, you love him, or you love to hate him. Tim Tebow has agreed to a contract with the Philadelphia Eagles, the circus that is the Philadelphia Eagles this offseason, it seems. So you can't not talk about this guy when he's doing anything, it seems. So, Vince, we're going to start with you. What was your immediate reaction to this signing of Tebow going to Philly?
My immediate reaction was no, I don't want him back in the league. I thought we were done with him when he kind of faded off with the Jets. But then my next thought was, what on earth is Chip Kelly doing? I saw later reports that they were trying to get rid of Matt Barkley, tried to trade him away. Well, if you're trying to trade away a quarterback, why would you bring in another quarterback? So now they have 4 quarterbacks on the roster. I don't know. Chip Kelly, he's always trying to outsmart everybody. Maybe he's outsmarting himself right now, because I don't know. I don't understand this move at all.
Matt, move on to you. I guess, do you agree that just no real idea what Tim Tebow's bringing to the Eagles?
I mean, I have to think that Chip Kelly has a plan. I mean, he's a smart guy. I mean, he did great things in Oregon, and the people seem in the Eagles organization seem to have faith in him. He's been the biggest mover and shaker of any guy, and he's putting together some roster. Tebow's the 4th quarterback, if he even uses him as a quarterback. So, I mean, pushing the whole media circus and the fact that it's going to draw a lot of attention to the team, I think it's an interesting move. It's a high work ethic player, but I can't tell you exactly what Chip Kelly is planning with Tim Tebow.
All right, well, Matt, now you touched on it a little bit in that, especially later in his career, primarily because his really, really bad accuracy as a quarterback, teams have tried to, convert him into other positions. I know the Jets did it. When he was there, he was on the punt team. He was a tight end for a little bit. Do you think that there's a chance that that's the direction the Eagles want to go and see if they can make him into a fullback or a running back?
I mean, maybe. It's not out of question to maybe try him at tight end again. You look at the fact that the team is completely. They seem to overlook the receiver position. I mean, who's going to receive? They lost Macklin, so you look at. Maybe that's an option. Maybe running back or a fullback. I mean, I think Chip Kelly appreciates versatile players who are athletic and can play multiple positions. So he might look to exploit that with Tebow.
All right, Vince. It's in kind of a follow-up. There's talk among some in the NFL and the competition committee that they're trying to move away from the extra point and push teams to go for 2 and really not give them an option. Do you think that was some of the motive behind signing Tebow, and that he, as a short yardage guy, he can be very helpful to a team?
Now that point's been made, I feel like that would make sense if that's a direction that Chip Kelly wants to go in, because we've seen Tim Tebow's not afraid to put his head down and just go between the tackles. That's kind of why teams steered him away from quarterback in the first place, because I thought he was going to get hurt and his durability was really an issue when he was with Denver and even with the Jets, with little use he had. So I could feasibly see him being a 2-point specialist, if you will. But I feel like all options for him are open, because I don't think the future for him is at the quarterback position.
I'm inclined to agree with that. I mean, there's numbers for the first 3 quarters of a football game. He'll go 4 of 12 as a passer. It's not enough to warrant a guy starting and playing on a regular basis, despite the late game magic that he seemed to have in his time in Denver. So that is all the time we have for the final edition of Going for Two. We could spend all day talking about Tim Tebow if we wanted to. Some networks choose to do that. We're not one of them, so we'll hand it off to the rest of the guys here at SportsZone. We got more coming up after this.
Pass. Hope you're ready for that. This is Throwing It Up, our NBA segment for last time this semester. So we'll see if it goes on. For it, I am Ben Florence. Got Jaron Byrne, Brian Wacamo, and Matt Golden. How about that? Great stuff. We got the NBA playoffs are currently underway. We got action going on live right now. You get your action on TNT, ESPN, ABC, a little NBA TV action for all you.
Home of David Aldridge.
That's right, a beloved AU alum,
Yeah.
David Aldridge. We're going to start with the one series, because there have only been 2 series to when we're taping that have gone to 2 games. The first one has been maybe a little closer than a lot of people expected. Warriors-Pelicans. Pelicans didn't get into the playoffs on the last day. The Warriors won the conference by like 11 games.
Yeah.
But yet, game 1 in Oakland, New Orleans was down big until they put together a big run in the 4th. And then on Monday night, New Orleans really gave the Warriors a really good run for their money. Jaron, can the Pelicans actually steal a game, or is it just going to be a case of close but not close enough?
I mean, let's look at it this way. They almost stole a game in Golden State, which is one of the loudest, if not the loudest, arena in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So if they come that close, I think they can take a game, but the series, no way. The Warriors are just way too good. They're an amazing team. They're one of the best teams actually in league history. It's not the Pelicans yet, but it looks very bright for them so far.
Brian, New Orleans obviously led by Anthony Davis,
Yeah.
but beyond him, Eric Gordon has been. He actually played really well on Monday night. Drew Holiday looks hurt though.
Yeah.
Do they have the depth to continue to compete with a Golden State team that goes very deep?
I don't think they have the depth. I think they could probably steal a couple more games, maybe, if any, if they had like a healthy Tyreek Evans and Drew Holiday. But since they don't, they're kind of leaning on Anthony Davis to carry the team. I don't think they have the depth. Their bench is pretty weak. I still think it's funny that you mentioned the noise, because Monty Williams complained, saying the noise level could be illegal in Oakland with the arena there, and they came out even louder for game 2.
As
But
you would expect.
yeah, but I think even though Anthony Davis is great, I still don't think they have the bench or the depth to possibly steal more than maybe a game in the series.
Matt, is there any reason to be worried with the Warriors? They had such a strong regular season, but they don't have a huge amount of playoff experience. Steve Kerr, first year as a coach, he's obviously never been to the playoffs before as a coach. Yeah, any reason to worry with Golden State?
I mean, I wouldn't, because the talent is there. They have a few veterans. You have people like David Lee, Iguodala, people who've been in the league for a while. The playoff experience is a point of concern, but I think they're going to learn fast, because they're coached by the Coach of the Year runner-up, Steve Kerr, a guy who, he had a lot of playoff experience as a coach, a 3-time champion, or as a player, a 3-time champion. A guy who's really gonna push the players to be their best at all times. So I think that they shouldn't have any worries.
All right, second question. We're going to stay in the Western Conference. One of the real surprising for game 1s of the first series really had to go in the Clippers Spurs series, where the Clippers just absolutely drilled San Antonio in a way that a lot of people thought San Antonio, even though it's a 3-6 matchup, these teams were separated by a game, literally. So, Matt, we'll throw it back to you. Since so many people thought San Antonio, defending champions, were a chic, playoff pick to come out of the West, any concerned on their end now?
I think you definitely have to be concerned to an extent, because Blake Griffin is going to be very hard to contain. He's a terrific player. He's really going to lead that team, and Chris Paul as well. The talent is there on that Clippers team. They might not be the deepest team in the world, but they definitely have talent. I wouldn't be overly concerned, because the Spurs, for game 2, it's going to be a blank slate. They're going to start over. They're going to do what they always do. But I think you should definitely keep an eye on that talented Clippers team.
Of course, Brian, San Antonio lost game 1 a year ago to Dallas in the 1-8 seed matchup. For the Spurs, can they come out and quickly make a run at this, bounce back after a real mess of a game 1?
I definitely think they can. They have by far the talent to do it. Kawhi's been playing out of his mind since he came back from his injury. And obviously Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili will always do what they always do. They have the talent, they have the ability, they have the bench to do it. It just is a matter as if they won't get smothered by the energy that LA puts out there.
All right, Jaron, we're out of time. So we got more of you, though, coming up in our thumb segment, which I know you'll be excited for. We got more Sports Zone coming up, so stay with us.
Welcome back to Sports Zone. This is your favorite segment, as it is mine, Getting to Third Base, joined by our usual crew of Dan and Aviva. Our final episode of the year, my final episode, hosting Getting to Third Base. Picked this up 2 years ago now, so this is my second full year of hosting. It's been a great year, for me at least. Other teams so far in baseball, hasn't been so great for them. Check out that segue right there. But what we're going to be doing right now is we're talking about the teams that we thought were going to be really good, but have not played as well. Teams, divisions, whatever it is. Dan started off. What's your biggest disappointment
All right,
so far?
my biggest disappointment for this year, I'm going to go with an entire division. The American League West has been very, very bad to start the season. And it's not good for me because if you remember a few weeks ago, I had picked the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim as my number one team in the American League. Mm-hmm. Well, they're currently sitting at 5-8. And that's not good, but they're 2 games out of first place because the Astros, the lowly Astros, they've been miserable for so long,
They're still
are in
miserable.
first place, and they're still not doing well. 7-6. 7-6 will get you first place in the AL West. It's the Astros, followed by the Oakland A's at 7-7, and then the Rangers, the Angels, and there's another team that I'm forgetting that is also not doing. Oh, the Mariners.
Mariners.
Who a lot of people also thought were going to be really good.
Yeah.
Are just not doing well. When a whole division is like barely above 500, not good. That's not good for the game of baseball in general.
No, not at all. Aviva, what's your biggest disappointment?
My biggest disappointment is here in D.C., the Washington Nationals. We've said before that we thought that their pitching rotation was going to be really good. They have Strasburg, they have Pfister, but they haven't been that good. I think they're 3rd or 4th, and with the pitching staff that they have, they should be better, but they're just not good.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to stay with Aviva on this one. I think the Washington Nationals were Sports Illustrated, ESPN's, all the big major magazines picked them to make it into the World Series, and their bats haven't been there. The pitching's been okay, but it hasn't been as stellar as people thought it was going to be. So as of right now, Washington Nationals are my biggest disappointment. I do have hopes, though, going forward. Rendon's coming back from an injury. Span just came back. Worth just came back not too long ago. So hopefully they can start ramping it up. Those are disappointments for teams. We're going to do one more thing of disappointments of players so far. Players that we thought were going to do super really good. That's not even English, really. Players that we thought were going to be great to start the year who have really struggled. Dan, start us off.
I'm going to go with a player on a team that's been really bad. And the Milwaukee Brewers, they're 2-11. They're cellar dwelling in the NL Central. And Jonathan Lucroy has been a real bad spot for them. As it's probably a big reason they are 2-11. Mm-hmm. He's currently hurt. He had a foul ball off his foot, broke his foot. He's headed to the DL. But even when he was healthy, no contributions. I know you and I both have him on our separate fantasy teams. We're both pretty upset about it.
And even before he broke his foot, he started the season, I think, 1 for 14 or 1 for 12.
Yeah, it's been a bad start. It's been a very bad start for Lucroy, bad start for the Brewers in general. But this is a guy who hit over 300 last year, so it's surprising to see that the drop-off is as big as it is.
Yeah, exactly. And Aviva, do you have a surprise player that you thought was going to do great but hasn't so far?
No, not really.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things, putting on the spot is a little challenging. I'm going to stay locally for my Boston Red Sox. Mike Napoli has struggled mightily to start the year. Luckily, the Red Sox have been able to muscle it out with Hanley Ramirez becoming a beast and looking like Manny Ramirez. If you watch his swing, watch his home runs, very similar swing there. But Napoli, manning first base, great year last year. Obviously, we know he has those knee issues, everything like that. But I think he's batting 135 right now, no home runs. And if he does have home run, I think it's only 1 home run. He has 3 RBIs, so really not a good year for him. But it's been a lot of players. Pujols has had his struggles, everything like that. But that is all the time we have for now. We're not going to look ahead to the World Series because that's not happening until October. We got the entire summer. These guys will be manning it when they get back in the fall. But for the last time of hosting Third Base, this has been Getting to Third Base. My name's Dylan Choate, and keep watching SportsZone.
All right. Show tunes aside, it is not only the final segment of the show, it's the final segment of the semester, and for us three good-looking chaps, it's our final episodes of SportsZone ever. So we're going to close it out. Later on, we'll announce the new producers, the new host. So you'll want to stick around for the whole action. But as par for the course, I kind of screwed up the English in that sentence. Dylan, lead it off. What do you got?
All right, thumbs up. Going to start with my own Boston Red Sox, currently number 1 in the AL East. As we all know, it was a very dismal year for them last year after winning the World Series in 2013. Number 1 right now. Big acquisitions in the offseason. I have a lot of faith going into the summer. Hopefully this will be another championship for the great city of Boston. We know the Patriots just won it. Celtics are in the playoffs this year. Bruins aren't, but everything's going well for us. So that's my only thumbs up of the week. Thumbs down is going to have to go to finals week.
Yes!
It's hitting everyone. Papers, tests, anything that you can imagine is finally here. It's horrible. There's a lot of it, so thumbs down to that. Thumbs down's also going to go to Lyoto Machida. This past weekend, he had a fight against Luke Rockhold. 5-round fight is what it was supposed to be. Machida had to cut weight last minute wearing one of the like painter suits essentially, and there was videos of him opening up the suit and water just pouring out of it so he could make the weight cut. He ended up getting demolished by Luke Rockhold in the second round. I mean, Luke Rockhold's a great fighter, but I thought Machida was going to be able to at least stand a little bit more of a fight. No information on whether he was injured or not, so we'll see if anything else comes out of that, but thumbs down to that fight. I hope Machida isn't over. He's had some really great fights recently, so I'm hoping it's not that age finally catching up to him like some other great stars. Final thumbs down. I know Ben's going to touch upon it more. Last episode. Ben and I have done this for 4 years now. It is a bittersweet moment to end SportsZone, but I know that we're going to be passing it off to a lot of great young people who know what they're doing. So thumbs down to that it is finally over after being such a big part of our 4 years here. It's really how I met Ben and all that sort of stuff. So thumbs down to that.
All right. Before I start crying, don't worry, I'm actually not going to cry. Brace yourselves for Mr. Jaron Berman.
All right, I got a lot of thumbs up, a lot of cumulative ones based on my time here.
Oh,
Just
God.
a quick one. Thumbs up to the hot New York Mets, 10-3. Got a time where actually is relevant.
God.
Moving past that, I'd like to give a thumbs up to the 2013-2014 AU men's basketball team. Thank you for giving me a wonderful opportunity to go see my team play in March Madness. I would like to thank AU for taking a chance on me. Welcome to this fine school.
Oh, God.
Thumbs up to Brooklyn. Thank you for that opportunity as well. Thumbs up to Sibley Hospital.
Yes!
Sibley Hospital.
Absolutely.
For taking care of me. 3 separate incidents, 2 in 2 weeks. I'd like to give a thumbs up to the student body here.
All right.
I'm going to be very sentimental.
Body?
Very sentimental here. Student body, thank you for being awesome. And as thumbs up is to our fans and viewers for sticking with us the entire time.
Yep. Can't go wrong with
Yeah,
that.
see? I did a nice note.
That actually went.
There you go.
That went better
There
than
you
I
go.
thought it was going to go. So, first thumbs down. Dylan touched on it. Jaron obviously alluded to it. We're seniors, so in a few weeks, we're not going to be students of any sort anymore for the first time in a long time. It's really kind of scary to think about. I am somebody who never really enjoyed growing up, hence by the fact that I still wear diapers. But beyond that aside, that's not actually true, but
It is.
it could be. But yeah, it's my 4 years here really gone too fast. It literally seems like yesterday I was just a plucky little freshman going to the ATV General Interest meeting, which was brilliantly done in the lobby here in our studio. And it was really packed, but I signed up for a little show called SportsZone, so I'm going to give a thumbs up for that. When I joined SportsZone like 4 years ago, I really didn't know what I was getting into. And to this day, I still really don't know what I was getting into. But after having been host and then stepping in as a producer mid-year when I was wholly unprepared for it,
The CD.
which he was very busy, but we won't get into that. Love you, CED. But thumbs up to the show. Thumbs up to all the people, all the great friends, all the people. You have folks up here, all the people in the back. Go in the past, and the people that were a part of us last semester: Aaron Vale, Alan Wynn, Silas Hill, Andrew Wainwright. Friel wasn't around. Deepak. Am I forgetting somebody?
That's it from last year.
From
the people who are moving on.
Yeah, the people that are moving on. You got Andrew Wainwright's.
Andrew Wainwright's staying.
But anyways, the show is. There were times where the show's given me a lot of gray hairs. If it makes sense, I'm sure I've given the show a lot of gray hairs because shows do have hair. But anyways, it's been a wild ride. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm thankful I've been a part of something great here, succeeding in one of my real mentors, Eric Wilkins.
Oh, Eric.
So, and Eric, who's doing well with Mike Gardner, Tyler Tomea, they're all doing well.
Micah.
All the Micah Potashnik, Zach Drescher, Paul Lupriato, Sarah Weber. It's been a wild ride, guys, and I'm probably gonna miss it. So, without further ado, I have to, because I don't have any more thumbs up, thumbs down, because as usual I half-ass this. Our new producers, which, is super exciting, succeeding for me and Dylan, who's done a tremendous job helping me out the past several years, us together. But the new producers going forward are going to be, he's directing right now, Mr. Dan Lagnato. Congratulations. He's been a very tremendous member the last couple of years. And perhaps somebody who's maybe more passionate about this show than anybody else, and since he joined as a freshman, Deepak Bhagat, who's currently, you saw him last week, he's abroad right now, over back in London, or south of London, whatever the hell is there. And then, speaking of Deepak, he is actually going to succeed me as the new host of the program.
Give it up.
So congratulations to those guys. He'll be sitting in this chair. Well, maybe not literally this chair. Maybe we'll actually have chairs that aren't.
Heaven
optimal.
forbid.
But anyways, for SportsZone, for ATV, and for everybody that's been a part of this wacky adventure that has been SportsZone, I am Ben Florence. I've got saliva all over my lips, which is kind of gross. We will see you down the road. Stay tuned for some more ATV, and take care.